Listen. I all thought it was a long weekend. You know, the people in the office tell me Friday was a holiday. In the office is thing. I really have a fat time. You know. Welcome back to the Discourse podcast. Welcome back to everybody who's been listening. Thank you for all the new people tuning in. All good? I wasn't good. This was a long weekend. If it wasn't a long weekend by the standard of holidays and so on, it was a very, very long weekend in my life. It looked like it's only one thing to talk about this week. We can talk for 1.5 about Dominic Hadeed again. I've never been so happy in my life for an episode to be published. Let me talk about this one time. I'm so glad that episode come. I'm glad people enjoying it. I'm watching all the comments that call me this. They call me PNM. They say I racist. They say like butter. The whole. You just think about it and they say all the different things. It take a long time maybe. Everything is happening is right timing and everything is prepared for. Every step is prepared for the next step. So I just want to give a little backstory behind this Dominic thing before I jump into how my week went and what is happening in the place, right? Everything happened in the place heavy, so we just come here to play music and enjoy ourselves. You know, just keep reminding. Let me remind everybody, number one, that this episode is come out every week on Patreon. You could become a patroni, subscribe, help the cause. You know what I mean? Help the financial cause, and you get these episodes every week. Every now and again, when I was kind of gauge, I'm a producer behind the camera, right? I was kind of gauge. When she face looking too frightened, I put that behind Patreon too, because they're not going to PDO me. I ain't going to PDO I here to stay free. So if this episode end up being short, it's because I say too much thing and I don't tell it going on YouTube already. So we're not playing certain games. You're going to stay free. But you could go on Patreon to hear what the full version of this podcast sounds like and what it always used to sound like outside of the interviews. We're going to talk about it. So we're getting to what happened in the country and all these nice things, right? And maybe twice a month they will come out on YouTube, and it depends on how. It had to be benign. It had to be, we talking about, you see when we start back talking about sports and Kaiso and thing, all you get on YouTube and on Apple Music and Spotify and all them kind of thing. Other than that, I ain't sure. All the people who listening to Dominic and thing are a little new to this platform. Welcome. It's nice to have all here. You know what I mean? Don't forget we have other episodes. We have other episodes with people of all races, all different background, all different color, all different creed, all different gender. We balance, you know. Don't judge me by the one episode and tell me, boy, you talk the thing. Anyway, imagine a man telling me in the comments, why you don't go and get a businessman who actually start from scratch? And that's like, we have dozens of those, dozens. We have them every week. So I'm glad you're new to the channel and I'm glad your opinion's very, very strong, but you're wrong like hell. So let me go to the backstory with this Dominic Hadeed thing, right? We spoke to Dominic Hadeed about coming on this podcast in 2025. Let me start, what you call it, break the fourth wall, go behind the curtain. Let me talk about the, they say inside baseball, locker room cricket. Let me talk about it now. Let me talk what's happened when only watching West Indies making runs and them kind of thing. There's some men bowling some spin like they can't stop him. But for that man to bowl that spin is about, as I hear they say he went to, I think it's San Diego High School in Jamaica. And he turned out to be another young West Indian bowler that go be problems like the likes of Sunil Narayan and so on, right? So we're glad to see that. We're glad to see West Indies winning Test cricket again. Again, rest in peace to the great Garfield Sobers. But for that man to bowl like that, plenty things had happened. And I'm not sure what is give people the impression. Maybe we just drink too much in these recordings. You know, we drink and lime and we'll talk too much. So people feel we just show up here and record episode. We spoke to this gentleman in 2025. The timing wasn't right. I don't think the timing was right for us because as I told him, I said, boy, listen, I don't want to, it would be a very big episode for us because of who he is and what he's accomplished in life. And I say the timing ain't right. Like we continue to build the channel and stuff and bring him on when the time right, you know, not before it's time. So those conversations were happening since then. We eventually set a date and he was very excited. I want to say that I'm not here to comment on no PDO, or at least not that PDO, right? I just comment on my absence of a PDO, which will remain that way, and any detention of anybody, right? But I will say that most guests, I don't really talk too much before they come here. Because I a little socially awkward too. You know? I feel like it's only be good when them say record and I say welcome, then I just find things to talk to people about. You see, before we start to record, I'm not sure that I just have a whole lot to talk to people about because I also want everything that they say to be recorded for your benefit, for everybody to see and understand a little bit about who this person is, right? So inside baseball, we could tell a little behind the scenes since everybody have opinions. I spoke to Dominic maybe more than I've spoken to any guest before they come on the podcast. And one of the things that I respect about that conversation was the conversation was always about how he could add value to what we're doing. I want to say here for people to understand that Dominic he has no obligation to us. He does not owe us anything. He don't have to show up here if he don't want to show up here. That is the truth about the 100 and how much ever guests we have. These people are highly successful in their own right, all different levels of success. They don't want to come and sit down and listen to my buffoonery and stale joke and laugh and gay. They don't have to do it. And to not have to do it and accept, I always appreciate it. I just be surprised still when people say they're willing to do it. But to come and be concerned when we set up a pre-call, because most of the pre-call, I just ask people, like, we're drinking to see how my liver can handle the week in front of me, because sometimes we're recording 3 in a week. I drinking wherever the guests drinking, True Trini. But his main concern was, Corey, I want to add value to your listeners. I want people to do better. I want people to understand about business, about my mindset. And we had several conversations about that to determine what we will talk about and how we'd approach it. He showed up on the day. He was here before me. You know what I mean? As a managed trade, it's have a few guests embarrassment on this thing. The Dominic Kalipasad, Saki. I remember all the people who are come and meet here. Lou Lyons, Kenny Phillips. There's some people who just be here earlier. Shame a dragon coming in. And Dominic was one of them here early again. Very, very respectful of our time, making sure that he come to add value and thing. And he came and we had a little quick chat and ready to go. And as far as I'm concerned, and everybody else on the team concerned, when we were finished with the episode, we knew we had a real solid business episode. They have a few that is walk out and you know. And as I say a few, I can tell you the few too. When I walk out with Junior Lee, I know we had thing. I say, all right, we have something here. With Wendy Fitzwilliam, I say, all right, we have something. You feel it. You know that people are going to receive it well. Especially when people just come and they just be themselves and we laugh and talk and them kind of thing. Special mention to the great Krokro, right? So, well, if I didn't feel it, they call me PNM. They call me all the worst kind of PNM it have for bringing Krokro on the platform. As if Krokro don't have a contribution. So, I was impressed that he took that angle and he could have come and talk about anything. It would be a good episode, but he was very, very willing to give of himself. And more inside baseball and more thing for you to consider. When we come and sit down here, it's a long conversation, right? The people behind the scenes, like the last episode we record, I remember the guest didn't take a drink. We gave water or whatever he was drinking. He didn't take a sip. I started to see him swallow hard. I just be so deep into the conversation. I just forget we need to give people a break, a little bathroom break. Oh, I want to tell you too that the extended version of Krokro, the uncut and extended version of Krokro is on Patreon right now. And you'll see what is happening when you don't give people bathroom break. Krokro just get up and say, I'm going to use the washroom. Krokro forget we recorded and think, he's his own person. So when we sit, there's a certain, I would call it mutual respect, right? For lack of a better term. Because I want to appreciate that when I first started recording, you had to ask 20 people to come on the podcast to get one person to say yes. And then he had to do that next week again for 20 more people and hopefully one say yes to make sure he could publish every week. The most important thing to me is that every week an episode gonna come out and we're gonna try our best to give you the quality you deserve when you put out an episode, right? And you had to stay consistent. So we behind people, begging people literally to come on. And then as the show started to get popular, it starts to change where now people asking you to come on, which is new. And it takes a lot of work to decide, all right, who coming out next, how we will balance it, because I don't want to have Dominic Hadeed here every week. I think, I don't know if that is valuable. It will get boring after a while. I like the idea that we could play and thing with Crow. Then we have Kes diving over table. Then we have Dominic sit down and having a discussion. Or we have Gervais Warner coming to the I like the balance that brings. And we intend to bring more and more of that balance to the table. So with all that work going into it, and the amount of research that had to be done to take people, because I have 100 and something people who are enormously successful in their own right, and to reduce their accomplishments and their endeavors to a 1.5 to 2 hour conversation, it is difficult. It takes some navigating. Let me put it like that, right? It takes some navigating. And when I look back at old episodes with people now, I be like, wait, I waste real time in that 1.5. No, so now we're getting better at it and we could get a little more information on them. But the truth is, 1.5, and it's talking about people who've lived for a long life and contributed. Pelham got doing this since he's 11, 12 years old and doing it up to today. So it's difficult to do. But I will say that while you do the research about the person, you're looking into the person's life and their accomplishments and who they are, and then you sit with the person for 2 hours, there's a mutual respect that comes with that. So when we gearing up and all of we in the office and we saying, right, we are one boy, bah, we outside, you know what I mean? We're trying to push this thing. We want the world to see how great we are as Caribbean people. So I ready to press play on Dominic Hadeed, and then I see, bam, detention order, bam, who get arrested. People start to message in the background. The WhatsApp group get active. People say, boy, you only see this. My immediate thought was, we can't put out this episode. There's now this man under arrest, this man's wife under arrest. You know what I mean? Well, we don't know at this point. You know, if you go into the gallows, you know, but at that point in time, I don't know what's going to happen to him. So I can't, in good faith. We all discussed it, and it's two things. We know that if we put out that episode the day he detained, we out of here in terms of numbers, which is what everybody looking for. Everybody on the team looking for the success of the thing. But we debate and we discuss and we say, nah, boy, listen. And what does Robinson say the time on moral and spiritual values? You know, remember they had the 2 seats? I say, boy, listen, let we shelf it. Let we wait and see. We try to get in contact with his attorneys. We try to, no. I understand that would not have been their priority. So no knock on them at all. But we try to get in contact with them. No response. So I decide, we collectively decide, listen, let we sit down on this thing. We're not going to put it out. And then he's released. So now he's like, hey, this thing had to go. Because, of course, when we debate in this thing, part of it is we want to be able to get the benefit of having a very good episode at a time when the whole country paying attention to the person. Is the Holy Grail of releasing these episodes? Well, boy, let me tell you about how much pressure in my life. As soon as we press play on that episode, let me tell you something, boy. My phone started to ring. Lawyer, doctor, engineer, everybody who could have call. And I was like, guys, we released it. It's not bad. It's not a bad episode. I don't want to do nothing to put him man in no problems, but he's not a coward man. Again, that mutual respect, that research, them conversations before. I don't get the impression that he's a person that is afraid of anything. There's also a point in the interview that we'll need to pay attention to. Strip out all the other thing about which side of the political divide you're on, and if you like the 1% or if you don't like them. Strip all that aside and go to the episode and listen to when I ask him. I said, brother, you just be frightened to come out and talk and think, boy, if he could have stoops, he stoops and walk off this set. That's not who he is. He's not going to stop being who he is. And we watching the public space too, because all at this point, we don't have any word from him yet. And I am most comfortable if I get to talk to Dominic before we pour the episode. But we get through to a friend of a friend and everybody, and everything was good. And then I stop answering my phone immediately. I went and play golf the Friday. I said, don't long me play golf. I can't play a little bit. I said, boy, my phone off, I go and play golf. I went and play card and play Romeo with my father whole day. And I say, this episode is coming out. I don't care who called. I don't care what it is at that point in time. Because I had to trust that I know he's a person who is not afraid. I also trust that we did not do anything to harm anybody in anything. As we do every week, we're not going to do anything to intentionally harm anybody or their reputation. And it's a damn good episode. So we decided to press play. And I have a production team with the greatest sense of humor in history because Dominic Hadeed get free. They powered the episode on Emancipation Day. I say, well, boys, listen, this is the greatest set of people I ever see in my life. They go half kill me now. I watching where things started to come out about him. Reporters wait, they see him, they get people, reporters is a special breed, as I was saying last week. They get a picture him in the thing, and you see him in the yard, and you know, when the whole thing was going on. But one of the videos where Shaw was playing on the episode at that point in time was his return to Blue Waters. Again, that is half kill me. I ain't talking about people who I good with, you know, me talking about just strangers, you know, strangers in the comments. Let me tell you something. After Adam Aboud episode and Lou Lyons episode, strangers in the comments can't bother me. But friends and family just call me to say, these people, you have these people talking about business success, and you don't have that, and what they have to. I don't care. I don't care. I try to tell as much success stories as I could because the purpose of this thing is to get youths who feel somebody get through or who feel they could never achieve what a Dominic Hadeed or a Lou Lyons or Muhammad Muakil or Wendy Fitzgerald. You could achieve what the people achieve. So that's the whole purpose. And once I had that purpose in mind and I know according to Crow, me and do it in bad faith, you know what I mean? Me saying about the daughter in bad faith, I do anything in good faith. So once I doing that, I standing by what we have and we putting it out. But when I put Adam Aboud, because they love me, you know. You see when I put Omari Ashby and Ozzy Merrick and I had a Franca Phillips and you know when I put people who looking like me, boy, they love me. They say, boy, this part is the greatest, this podcast, boy. People start to tell me you should leave work and do this. You had Kurt Allen, you had Mr. Shack. They say, what, you're born for this? Uh-huh. The first time I put out somebody like Adam Aboud, they say, oh God, well, you sell out, you're this and that. I say, but what is this? So I say, is he not a Trinidadian? That's my first question. Is he not a Caribbean person? I hear to sell Caribbean stories, and I want the world to see how great we are. That's all we're working on. So I had to ask myself, but Adam is not Trini? What he is? He come, they had the 1% thing. I asked him what the 1% is the best response I ever get in any podcast. I get where he stoops. He's like, I don't give a shit. He don't care. Because the thing about it is, he might be seeing that the same way I see in strangers in the comments calling me a PNM and this and that. But people who are close to me telling me, well, why you platform these people and these people are not nice people and Here was the scene, right? Let me save all that time, right? I platform in all. Wait till listen. I don't think Ole understand what I mean when we say highly successful people. Not Ole go disagree with me, you know, and if Ole disagree with me, I'm doing the work because you go have some highly successful people here. If Ole feel Ole vex about the 1%, boy, wait and see something here when we start to bring highly successful people here. But now I see the Blue Waters video, the man go back to work in his episode, in Adam's episode. They both said, as if they rehearse it, I love my business. When I leave here, I go in straight back in my shop because I want to go. I love my business and I do every day. So I just like you, I sit down home watching the video now to see how he going to be received. I want to see what he looking like too. And let me tell you the most Trinidadian thing I ever seen in my life, right? When he drive up and the people start to see him from inside, a woman say, oh God, he gets small. The Trinidadian must comment about your size, you know. It's either your porn size, you get big, you get small. Somebody must say that. And the welcome I see him get from his staff was encouraging. It was, keep in mind that at that point in time, we on the team done listen to that episode about 20 times. So we feeling good that we have something good. And when I see the way his staff receiving that, I say you can't stage that, you can't fake that. Some of the things he's saying here had to be absolutely true. So boy, we put it out. My phone, they call my phone on the golf course till it's dead. I say, all right, nothing ain't gonna happen, but we put it's too good an episode for us to shelf. And I think I have a responsibility to him to make sure that is seen as well. Well, boy, they half killed me because we put any caption, we put everywhere that we could have put it. This episode was recorded before the blah da 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 da. In the beginning of the episode, I said, guys, this was recorded before. Boy, they sit thing and said that I'm only trying to fool people like waste my. And I'm thinking, I just want to put this out there, right? All the episodes, if you didn't know, all are recorded long before they come out. So I know what the hullabaloo was about. And every episode to me is one of 10,000. I did get a call from Dominic. He's in very, very good spirit. I was very encouraged, to be honest, when we spoke, because this man is laughing and talking and thing. I don't know if I would be in that kind of mood if you lock up me and my wife. You know what I mean? I'm aunt. I don't know if I'm in that kind of mood, but he's very upbeat. He happy about the episode. He was really checking on me. That tends to happen because Lou Lyons, people mightn't remember, had made some comments about Jamaican music, I'm afraid to say it, Jamaican music originated in Trinidad and reggae being the son of calypso and so on. Well, boy, and I was in Jamaica at the time, and people want to half kill me. Is Lou now had to call me and say, hey, you're good? I know you're getting fired for what it is I say, And I was like, nah, good, everything cool. I is usually the most frightened one at the table, but I'll tell you, something stood out that Dominic said and that I said, and it made me realize that I have myself as a very balanced, unbiased, non-judgmental person, right? But I understand that we all have blind spots. And it's something he said. I said, Dominic, boy, I'm so glad to hear you good. I just want to make sure you're all right. You know what I mean? I to see a person go through that, I don't like it. And on record as saying I don't like jail for anybody, any percent of the society. I don't feel should be in jail at all. And I said, Dominic, if again, like I was telling him, just like I was talking about with Blue Waters, I was like, boy, if I don't make the kind of money you make and think, me, you know that I go in on that plant every day, And I tell him that on the phone, so I was like, you laughing and talking about this thing. That is so encouraging. I say, a man like me now, that happened to me. I would have run and leave here. I would have go somewhere else and live with the means that he has. He could live any country in the world as comfortably, if not more comfortably, than he living here. And his response to me was telling. He say, Corey, why I must leave here? This is my country too. I think it's something that we must remember. What make him less Trinidadian, what make me more Trinidadian? I don't know that I think in them kind of metrics at all. I don't know if I think in those metrics at all. So I was encouraged to hear him say that. And it made me realize like there's a blind spot for me because maybe I am all seeing him as less Trinidadian than somebody who, because I feel like to pack up and run and leave Trinidad go be hard. I go miss the country, I go miss the food and the people and the kaiso and them thing. Almost as if because he's another race, or maybe because he have money, or he have big business. I thinking that he not feeling that same way. So it was a good revelation to me. It was something for me to ponder and understand my blind spots. But I want to speak particularly to the blind spots of all these people in the comments and thing. And then all you go turn me into one of these block and delete kind of, all you go make one of these Instagram daddies who blocking and delete people, because always say wild things in the comments sometimes. Every week an episode gonna come out. Not every week you go like the episode. Not every week you go like the person. If you don't like the episode and you don't like the person, skip it. You go just have to wait 1 week. Something else done coming out. Just don't listen to it. You see Dominic and you don't like Dominic, move on. Move on with your life. Don't come to insult the people who doing all the hard work behind the scenes to make sure that this thing happen. Or don't come to insult the people who taking 2, 3, 4 hours out of the day to come here and share some part of the story or some part of the journey. And don't base why doing on no one episode. Every one of them episodes is one of 10,000. We have plenty work to do. And one thing I'm going to show you, the people who giving, let me say this too. The people who giving us the encouragement and seeing the episode for what it is and seeing all the episodes for what they are and say them things, I want to tell all they appreciate that. We appreciate it. We don't miss it. We see that the responses to these things are overwhelmingly positive and people receive them well. And it's up to you to decide what useful from an episode and what not useful for an episode. I want to give assurance to the people who support us regardless of what has happened, that all that old talk will never stop. All that old talk never going to stop. We here next week again. As a matter of fact, by the time I set up to decide who we were saying, and the things are well, Emancipation Day is a day and them kind of thing, but we done ready to release about 5 more episodes. So as far as I concern, everyone, they say play every ball on its merit. When you have bowlers like these West Indian now coming at you, you have to take your time and bat. So you see when a man running up to bowl, which is the man sitting down by this table or the woman sitting down here, I don't focus on nothing else for that too. All I care about is that person in that moment, and we get a good episode. And when that person done, my mind is on to the next one and who, because I had to focus on the research to make sure that we could repeat it. So just come now every Monday. Always Kes too, because Kes got to come out on a Tuesday because after all, is we into a Tuesday on the rocks. We had to make a proper salute to the band Kes, but in the spirit of Dominic Hadeed and his statement that make me realize you can't, all the way from here, I would like to play one of my favorite songs by one of my favorite artists.
I don't mind when they try to treat me unkind and take away what is mine. These are things I could put behind. But I demand respect from me countryman, who at least they should understand. In a way, I'm an alien, partisan man who believe me own people call me foreigner, 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 for everyone who doubt I'm a native son, both my parents are dead and gone. In Tobago where I was born, bless their soul. Without a doubt, anything that you talking about, in my country from north or south, I could walk straight and point it out. So shut your mouth, man. Understand? You should shame to call me foreigner, 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 I was around when they now bring trolley in town, and tram car running up and down, round the savannah, round and round. I was there when the preacher they call Nosegay, beg them crucify him up there. His I will run to drag him away. So what you say, man? In my land, immigration stamp me foreigner, foreigner, who else got know but a man born in Tobago, who see Big Jackson Bonito, does just stay so and jump ashore. And who again will know Sukuyan Dwen and La Jabless walking like men, telling you go, come let we go, mama yo, so I come,
Yes.
so I go, but don't ever call me foreigner, foreigner, foreigner.
Ba-da-ba. I want to say $5 if you can tell me who sing it, but the voice too distinct. I feel like I lost all my $5 on them. The name of the song is Foreigner. The name of the artist is a great papa, the man they call Lord Nelson. One of my favorite. If you're listening to this podcast for years, you're fed up hearing me play that song, I'd like to apologize. Emancipation Village, let me talk some emancipation thing. What I want to talk about first? All I want to talk about how all was vexed because the Indian High Commission was going to have an Indian diaspora only event. And only get mad. And then when UTT for Indian dancing, all that thing, only get back mad again. That's what I want to talk about. Why? Listen, the best thing that can happen to me in this life is to just record this episode every week. You know, every week we go get something to talk about that will balance out what we talked about last week. Because, again, I really couldn't understand what all this sort of talk was about. If the Indian High Commission want to have something for their people of their diaspora that is exclusive or excluding people from another ethnic background or whatever it is, I don't see the issue. Maybe Ole could convince me that the issue is one of sensitivity. I was listening to Dale and Tony this morning, and you see, when you're agreeing with Dale enough too much, you might be having radical thinking, you know. I mean, either one of them, because both of them, you never know what style of issue either one of them go stand on. But they were asking the question as to whether what UTT did was disrespectful, because UTT had an emancipation event and they had an Indian dancer dancing on the stage to Indian music. And people was upset. People was in an uproar. So the question they asked was it insulting? You know, was it poor judgment or was it insulting? So maybe if you want to argue with me that the Indian High Commission could have better judgment, and again, I'm only basing that on what I learned from talking to Michael Callan here, who's the High Commissioner of Trinidad and Tobago to Canada, something close to that, right? The Canadian fellow who's responsible for here, right? And when I understand the role of diplomacy, I could understand why your diplomatic relations, you had to be sensitive to what's happening on the ground. So maybe they should have anticipated that that kind of blowback would have come. And maybe just out of respect, not have it on African Emancipation Day. If all you want to argue, all right, I could concede that if all you want to argue that. The argument that the Indian diaspora or the Indian High Commission should not have an event for people who are of Indian descent only is a waste of time argument. It makes no sense to me. I see Muhammad Muakil make a post the other day. And again, another person who, when Muhammad came here, so everybody who was who contributed to the memories of the coup last week, July 27th, I knew I wanted to talk to Muhammad about growing up in the coup and growing up back with Abu Bakr and his father being, leading a revolution, 6 years old, right? I know I wanted to talk to him about it and I wanted to ask him about it. And I remember sitting by the table with him before we start. And I was so frightened and nervous. And I want to tell him, Muhammad, this is what I'm going to ask you. And before I could get two words out my mouth, he's like, nah, I cool with anything. He didn't realize I saying this for me, He tried to say, I cool with asking anything, He said, I cool with the questions coming. In other words, don't discuss no set of things. Start the interview. You know what I mean? Man, shut me clean up. I said, what the hell is this? I try to get, because I'm not sure how he will receive asking him that question. And when I asked him, he said, well, I didn't realize I was going to talk about this today. I was ready to jump ship and I was ready to go on to, all right, well, let's talk about Take Me Home. You know what I mean? But he was like, nah. And he was comfortable talking about it. And I remember working on these social media clips. And there's one clip, and I mean, maybe now I regret not posting it, but I was so frightened. He said, the Jamaat al-Muslimin was a place that was a community on its own, and they would do their own trials. They had their own justice system. He said even murder, they would do the trial. Well, boy, when I hear even murder, they would do the trial. Well, no self-mean putting that out. I said, no, let me don't put that as no clip because I don't want no problems. I don't want nobody call me. You know me. I don't want to ring my phone. And I nervous about it. I say, boy, I don't want to talk. But I respect Muhammad because he's somebody who I would say has a lot to lose. The opinion of Muhammad, he has a lot at risk. Because Freetown Collective is a loved group that's seen as, people see them as hippies who singing love music, Take Me Home and all these kind of things. Find me. When you're singing them kind of music, people just love you, But maybe is the DNA, whatever it might be, but these men are revolutionaries at heart. And when they see things a certain way, they're not afraid to talk about it. And I saw Muhammad next to Alyssa Phillip up by not the crematorium, what they call the next place where they test, the forensic center, with the mouth banned to say that he not you can silence protesters. He don't need to be a part of that issue. As a matter of fact, one of the complaints is our artists do stand up for us, for the regular citizens. Muhammad is not that. So on Facebook recently, I saw him post quite the opposite of what I was saying last week in terms of what it meant that the Indian High Commission did that on Emancipation Day. I disagree with it completely. But again, I am not the kind of person who, when I disagree with somebody or something or a sentiment, I agree with his right to say it 100%. He's right to say it. And I disagreed with him. Sometimes I start a type comment and I say, I just leave it alone because that is his opinion. And because your opinion different from my opinion, that is not an automatic gateway for debate for me, right? Even if you put it publicly. If you say something to me that I disagree with, don't expect that I'm going to engage in debate because I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. I know how I see this world and I'm comfortable that some people see this world differently than me, and that is what makes me think nice, you know what I mean? That is what makes me think nice. So when I see you say it, I say, all right, well, I mean, plenty of people seem to feel so. I don't feel so at all. I feel the Indian, let me say this. Any high commission could have any event for their people of their country and the descendants of their people of their country. I'll go further to say that if the German High Commission, let's have one of them, if the German High Commission had taking all my maturity not to say what just comes to my mind, but if they have an event to commemorate their history, right, and they decide to come and say everybody of German descent or all the Germans in the country and thing, come down. nobody would have said anything, even if it was on Emancipation Day. But this country is a country, once you say African and Indian in the same sentence, it is starting to get heated immediately. You can't say African and Indian. You can't say it no matter what. No matter if you're saying something good about one, bad about the next. It does not. Once you say African and Indian, and these days, in the last few weeks, it's being fueled more than ever. And my call is that as people, we must ignore that. Because even the politicians and the vloggers and all of them who saying this, none of them don't believe that neither. From the highest levels, I see the Prime Minister making some tweet. Oh, this is going public. I can't talk about the Prime Minister. I would like to retract the last statement and say that last 5 seconds you listened to was AI. But the people who make any biggest statements that might divide people along racial lines, they do not live like that. They have friends of the other race, of the Trinidadians and Tobagonians and Caribbean people as a whole, have friends of every race, every gender, every sexuality, every income bracket, every sort. All of us have friends of all those levels. We have employees of all different racial backgrounds. We have people we just play card and lime with. We also have little places we go, nobody looking. They go by different places where you're supposed to go, and there's people of all different races. That's just Trinidadian nature. It's just who we are. You know what I mean? Don't feel nobody go in there and select people of their own race and you on age. Certainly not age, right? Man looking for young thing. So the truth is that push and that rhetoric to divide us is it is not. If you're following people along them lines, just understand that those people who saying that don't think that way, and they're saying it to rile people up because it have benefit to riling people up. And it comes from the same thing we see in the election when the men say build the wall and the Haitian people eating people pets in Ohio. It is to rile people up. And when you rile people up, what they do is they dig down deeper in the political bases. I talked about it last week, The more you get riled up and the more you feel threatened, the more tribal you get. You're a peaceful person. You listening to this podcast, you're peaceful like hell. You're the most docile person I ever come across. But if somebody kicking your front door, no. You will get very carnal, you will get very tribal, you will get very violent. And because it's on our nature to protect ourselves and the people who closest to us, it's just in nature. So this African and Indian thing where you can't say nothing about nobody. And when I want to post a good clip from good Vonnet Bigfoot, you know what I mean? Salute to Vonnet and Uzuri. My wife, when they had a great time, Vonnet tell me, she said, Corey, they're asking for change in the room. She said, the people who come in the show asking if we could put change in the room for them because they want to change outfit because they're dressing up so much to come to the show. When she change outfit, them want to go and change outfit too. From everything I hear, enormously successful event and it went well. But Vonnet was here saying that, I don't want to quote her, but she was saying that I'm not ashamed of my skin color. I'm not ashamed of my Africanness, and I want to be able to celebrate it. I want to be able to celebrate it without anybody else feeling offended. And she went on to say that sometimes when you just say Africanness, people start to clam up sponsors and things too. There was a gentleman here by the name of Private Ryan. The talk get too sweet, and I forget to ask him about this. And Kwesi Hopkinson. I have a few more promoters coming here, but I'd ask them because Private Ryan in particular has a themed event every year. I see Asian theme. I see they had a thing with a cartoon something. I think this year they do a roses for Valentine's and thing. I want to ask him, not to pressure him to do anything, but I want to ask him, like, if you do a African-themed event, like you say, you know what I mean, a emancipation version of Soca Brainwash, how you feel sponsors will treat with that? I don't want to put them on the spot, but I want to ask a few of them that, because I agree with Vonnet. From the time you put your thing out as exclusively African, there seems to be a hesitation. And she also said, by African people as well. We could do a history lesson one day and see why that might be the case, right? But you could understand, you could make some guesses as to why that is. So when I had a post up a clip with Vonnet saying that on Emancipation morning, and I know the evening, a man now get emancipated from his PDO, I say, boy, I want to deal with all this. I want to deal with all this weekend, because I know what's coming. Because again, the rhetoric tends to make people get more and more tribal. So I saying two different things here, right? I don't care which high commission have what for the people. 100, if it's a 50 high commission here, the only one we would know we had an issue with is the Indian high commission, because that's how we get. You can't say African and Indian in the same sentence. All of a sudden, it's insane to me as a boy who grew up in St. James. Do not understand it at all. And I use St. James as a metaphor for wherever you grew up to, because where you grew up in Trinidad wasn't so neither. So, all right, the Indian High Commission say, yep, our bad, you know what I mean? That was a little sensitive. Sorry about that. We're moving it and we're going to do it thing on another day. And the question still asking. So I saw Muhammad's statement about that. And then he pulled back after and he said, all right, after a lot of feedback, I hear people concerns and people think and da 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 da. And I appreciate all the feedback. And I remember going in his comments, which I should have never done. I don't know why his comments on people think. I hear talking for a whole hour, 2-3 times a week. I had to still talk when Facebook come. I say, brother, I respect the fact that you be willing to speak up when you believe in something and you're open to feedback. I like people like that. No, I saying that because I know I don't disagree like hell with the way you said the first time and I didn't want to post it because I ain't able to that. Only for a man to come in the comments to say, what my partner name, boy? I was trying to remember his name so I could call his name here, but maybe I shouldn't get him kind of light to come to say, oh, look at you. You're getting giddy to bring another race beta on your podcast. You bring Crocro, now you're looking to suck and the next race beta. It's like, what? So I was like, Muhammad was on the podcast already, so I'm not understand. I respond to this man, me and like I had too much time on my hand. I leave my phone off for a day, and like I get excited when it come back on. I say, Muhammad was on the podcast already. What are you talking about? He's like, well, bring him back a second time. He's like, PNM. Only to see the same man, like he in the comments in Kroko, and he find he ain't get enough attention there to say that he always know this is a failed PNM podcast. And well, here what is a PNM podcast? You know what I mean? For as of today, as of midnight tonight, he's a PNM podcast until further notice, right? According to this man. So I was just really respecting the fact that Muhammad was willing to come back and take back his word. Not that he had to agree with me on anything, it is what it is. But again, one little week pass, and people in a bunch, the girl come and do, I must say Chef Shakti or one of them, the girl come and do, she dance and thing. And again, I have no problem with somebody having an exclusive event. So if the Ghanaian High Commission or it's an African High Commission, we need one Africa, so my thoughts could be simpler. If you have an African High Commission and them come and say, hey, we have an event today, this only for people of African diaspora, blah, 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 blah. I don't see the issue. I don't see why Indian people should be upset about that. Do that. If you want to do that, if you want to have... So in other words, you're telling me, if I have a family day, right? My family is Shepherd and Bab, right? And we come together to have a family day. Because we having a family day and it's only for we family. We hate all the rest of family in Trinidad and Tobago. This is what they're trying to tell me. I don't know that makes sense. I don't think in them kind of metrics. I love my family. If you have a family day, let me not put that out there too much. The next thing they ask me to have a family day, me want a family day. It's a joke I make. I hope. But I don't see it. In the reverse, I really don't see the big issue. If you have an Emancipation Day, and I am an Indian dancer, and I want to pay respect to you, my African brothers and sisters, for what you all went through on this African Emancipation Day to celebrate the fact that you all free with me and we could live like this. I want to bring my Indian dance and show you and showcase. I cannot understand the issue. And I'm not saying nobody else wrong, and I only talk about me. I cannot understand what the issue is there. Because, let me take it again, African and Indian people is getting mad, But when the German High Commission come here for an event, we just show them African dance, Indian dance, limbo dance. Sometimes get them a pole dance and all. We just show them what we are. We just show them the best of who we are and what we have to present. So if I respect, let me use a different, what would be the equivalent? Indian Arrival Day. I respect Indian Arrival Day, and I respect and love the fact that under whatever circumstances, it wasn't the greatest, but we're here. So if we start celebrating the commemoration of the arrival of one group and we're celebrating the freedom of another group, I want to be in the source for both because, like I said, next week I know it's a thing to eat and it's a room to drink, and I ain't that. Like me. So if I go there with my African self and I decide that to show my brothers and sisters the love I think, I have an African dance that I just do. Or I want to beat my African drum to show. I find that is the most respectful thing people could do. People giving of themselves to show respect to you and to show you how much I love you. Seems to be good to me. Now, let me talk about UTT for a minute, right? Because I don't know if the people in UTT didn't really read the papers and see what happened with the Indian High Commission the week before. I don't know if they thought it was a great idea to do this because clearly this is a sensitive matter. I prefer to come and discuss it because I don't think it should be sensitive at all. But the fact that I think so don't mean it's not sensitive, right? Well, boy, they nearly half killed this girl. Poor girl. The girl danced out she had. They nearly half killed this girl. So the UCT organizers under fire. And people seem to be upset. Let me read, right? Let me make sure I'm saying the right thing. UCT under fire for Emancipation Day Indian acts. And let me read first. A University of Trinidad and Tobago Emancipation Day program has sparked a fierce backlash after East Indian music and dance performances were included in an event to commemorate African Emancipation Day. Critics are accusing the institution of disrespecting the significance of the occasion. The event titled Uhuru Celebrating Freedom was hosted last Wednesday at Napa. The program, which includes acts by Patrice Inglesworth, the Onilu brothers, I got to butcher everybody name here, Dr. Edward Cumberbatch, Nkosi Waldron, it drew criticism for its addition of East Indian music and dance performances by the Shiv Sangeet, I never remember, Shiv Sangeet School of Music and Susan Mohip. In a video posted to social media on Friday, opposition MP, Dr. Nayan Gadsby, she's still around, described the UCT's event as disrespectful and disappointing. African Emancipation Day is literally and simply about African emancipation. Indian Arrival Day is literally and simply about the arrival of East Indians in Trinidad and Tobago. And you know what? We are big enough as people to celebrate both of them separately. All right, Nayan. And I don't want to say it's just everybody feel that. Well, a lot of people seem to feel that way. I am saying, decide. If we decide that African Emancipation Day is for Africans, by Africans only, and it is exclusive, and we want to put it in a dome where nobody from no next race can come and see nothing and buy nothing and enjoy nothing and support nothing and bring nothing, let me say that outright. Make it like the Indian High Commission where you say blacks only. And I'm using the word blacks because I don't want to get PDO. Blacks only here, then go start sabgami. So let me come out and say that. I want the Emancipation Support Committee, all the people who are against this, to come out and say that we don't want nobody else. We don't only watch we. When we celebrating emancipation, don't watch we. You'll turn into a pillar of salt. Like, what was a lot on them? Don't watch nothing we doing. Don't come. Don't spend none of your money. A matter of fact, if the motor car you buy come from a dealer that is of another race, walk and come the emancipation thing. We don't want nothing to do with nobody who is non-African. I cool with that. I good with that because I feel as a people, everybody have the right to have their family day. And if my family day is a Shepherd family day and it's a closed event, make it a closed event. If that is the case, I have a problem with taxpayers' dollars going in that because taxpayers' dollars don't come from one race. So if you want to have a private event, put your private funds in it and have it private. And as Dr. Nayan, them a doctor and thing, according to Krukru, as they have a doctorate, they feel like greater than God and they could push hate. You know what I mean? So, you're a doctor, me, you're no doctor of nothing. But if you feel like if that is that, do that. And if East Indian Arrival Day is for East Indian alone and everybody must close their eye and do, well, all you have all your event with all your own money, make it private. And I have no problem with that. Everybody entitled to have a family day. I don't know if it makes sense. I don't know if that is how we live on a day-to-day basis. I would think, and I'll tell you about my own experience with the Emancipation Village, right? I will tell you my experience with the Emancipation Village because in my effort not to switch back on my phone and not to go back home Friday night to avoid the Dominic Hadeed smoke that was coming my way, I decided, let me go in the Emancipation Village. I tell myself, I will get some fufu and something, I say I go eat some of that and I will cool my head and I will go and watch that. But I would think that if you have an Emancipation Village and you have several people selling food, you have several people selling clothes, you would want to sell your clothes to as much people. So what, them clothes is for African alone because African clothes? This is what the white man, okay, you can't say that, in a PDO, you can't say that in a SU. This is what is halfway because when they make Ralph Lauren, them selling to everybody. They go, even if they don't like you, they set up Nike store everywhere so that you could buy whatever product it is that is selling. But we like this idea that I must go so and you must go so and you must leave me alone and they mustn't touch me. So let me go a step further. Let me do this, right? Let me set up some restaurants where only some races go. Let me get a cooler where it's whites only and this cooler is black only and this cooler is Indian only. And let me do that. Let me just separate. As a matter of fact, let me draw some borders because the country too big. Let me chop it up smaller and all the African could go. Where they will go? And only Indian could go so, and you see, well, them is 1%, right? So them could just stay in the yacht club, right? Them have to take up too much space and too much land and take them to stay in the yacht club, right? Well, you know, they like all the little boats and things. So just split up the land and let we go separate and see if it is. But we have such an opportunity to take from each other and to give to each other and to lend to one another. And we learn this stupidity, in my opinion, especially because I know a lot of it fueled from the top down. Change who we are, change how we live every day. Because don't go and buy no routine, don't go and buy no the go up Sarah's, just stay away from people, just eat your food. Like we just separate out everything. I just find it such nonsense. We do not live like that. So what we is last year, Emancipation Day, I had a gentleman here by the name of Gary Abood. Like, I am in the habit of bringing 1%ers around Emancipation. I had to check my blind spots. It looked like it's a habit. Now, let me see who we can bring next year. You see if you can get Norman Sabga here next year, Emancipation. And Gary says something on the Emancipation Committee last year. Boy, I never cut something out of an episode so far. I'm frightened. So, this, every year around Emancipation Day, we have this big debate and quarrel. Every year around Indian Arrival Day, we have debates and quarrel. I okay with calling it African Emancipation Day. That was one of the debates that Dale and Tony had. I believe a caller's messaging and they say the day it was called African Emancipation and Indian Arrival is when they divide. I mean, I hear him, but I don't think that should divide us. I mean, the fact that they call one a Catholic church and the next one Anglican, boy, we are accustomed going in who man is married, woman here. And them is religion, and them is a next religion, where them is supposed to marry that. So if you go India and marry somebody religion, we is married here, you get beheaded. But we do that here, and we have two weddings. One in certain time, one you put on your Indian way or your African way, and you go and do that. I think that is more who we are than this thing we're trying to be. I could play a tune for it, because I come here to play tune more foreign and them kind of thing. You come for this hassy cassie. I'll come back and tell you my experience in Emancipation Village.
A tourist dame, I met her the night she came. Well, she curiously asking about my country. She said, I heard about Bacchanal and the Trinidad Carnival. So I come to jump in the fun, and I want you to tell me how it is done. I said, Dudu, come in town Tuesday morning, find yourself in a band. Watch the way how the native moving, have a tight with a man. Sing along with the tunes they're playing, and now and again you shouting, play Mass Bacchanal, the stories, that is Carnival. The following day, we went to Maracas Bay. Every step we walk, she started with the Juve talk. She said, kids, from what I've been told, Carnival is out of this world. Just the thought is worrying my brain. Well, let me hear that lesson again. I said, come in town Tuesday morning, find yourself in a band. Watch the way how the native moving, have a fight with a man. Sing along with the tunes they're playing, and now and again you shouting, play Mass Bacchanal, the stories, that is Carnival. Juve you swear that is here she born. The holding hand, jumping in a Juve band. When the rhythm hot up the pace, she say play Mass, and shaking she waist. Kids, will you phone Hotel Normandy and tell them don't leave no breakfast for me. I said, Dudu, come in town Tuesday morning, find yourself in a band. Watch the way how the native moving, have a fight with a man. Sing along with the tunes they're playing, and now and again you shouting, play Mass Bacchanal, the stories, that is Carnival. She turned and said, "Hitch, I now feel to break away." She said, "Come on, man," and dragged me in front the van. Mama, when we reached Independence Square, she kicked and she raised, she dressed in the air, calling Beckinel, Beckinel, I am the queen of the carnival. I said, "Doodle,
Coming from Tuesday morning, find yourself in a van. Watch the way how the natives moving, hung up tight with a man. Sing along with the tunes they're playing, and now and again you shouting, play my bacchanal, Miss Stories, that is carnival."
So to make kaiso. I go in an Emancipation Village, right? I say, boy, let me duck this Dominic Hadeed thing. I say, nobody can go call my phone. I don't want no problems with nobody. Let me leave it so. Right? This is a $40 to go in. This is a Friday night, right? So I pay my $40 gladly and thing. And I walk in. And I see a nice little display of things happening, right? Remember, I was just talking about Private Ryan, right? Nice little display thing for Instagram. It looks like some kind of statue, something, and all them thing. I'm just watching people, right? Or just in the people watching game at this point in time. And I say, you know what, let me see what it's about. I'll admit that all the talkers come and talk. I never went to the Emancipation Village, you know, either, man. All the talk I just talk is that as a social media warrior, you know, I stay home and watch what I had to watch. Or listen to what I had to listen to because they're leaving home. So, going down anything. I like the entrance, you know what I mean? They do a little entrance and thing. I say, well, all right, you know. But first thing is like, I remember going in licensing 50 years ago. I was talking to somebody about that here, Johnny Q, and them were talking about the original stages and how much deco it have in FET. Now, when I watch the entrance, I say, all right, you know, I was thinking, this could be grand, you know what I mean? But I say, right, it's nice, you know what I mean? There's some banner put up and thing, man. You know, you're walking through the scaffolding and a kind of trusting looking thing, everything looking halfway raw. And then I see what would be called a little experience area, right? Like if you ever went to Walt Disney or when these places, you see how much they pay attention to what the entrance is like. We went to Disney. Fortunately, my son, I promised him that boy, you know. I promised that man I go carry that man Disney. When he passed him for Fatima, but I promised him that based on his standard 3 grades, you know, boy, me you know what make me promise that man went and passed Fatima and through cost me, I still paying back for that trip. But we walk in and when you reach the park, this is the Disneyland, I guess, I can't remember what it's called, Magic Kingdom. You could go on a train or something like that, or you could go on a ferry. We line up by thousands of people, too many people for me, but we go on the ferry. And when the ferry break the corner and you see the Magic Kingdom, the whole ferry say, oh, because they focus and they pay attention to the entrance of the places like and them kind of things. So I say, right, you know what I mean? The entrance nice, people taking the little pictures and things that nice. Then I walk through some booths selling African wear and I see some people say authentic Ghanaian clothes and all them kind of thing. It look nice, you know what I mean? But I'm watching how the tent on them is just like raw tent. I'm thinking, but you know, I just watching it for the opportunity and seeing it for how grand it could look. Because the thing full, I'll tell you this, salute to the Emancipation, what's called Emancipation Support Committee. They put on a good event in the village because the village is full of people. It reminds me of the Flavor Village, which I find should have never come down, but it come down. But the Emancipation Village looking nice, you know what I mean? People out, and when I say people out, the whole family, they come with everybody and people, children there, and I'm walking in and I say, well, all right, I could get something to eat here before I go home, you know what I mean? I'll take in whatever show they have and them kind of thing because I wanted to go to see Super Blue the night. I said, man, I had to get one of them Google calendars something, yes? And when you see I say I'm going to do something, I had to put it in a calendar to remind me because I remember I wanted to see Super Blue in Emancipation Village the morning after when I see it on Instagram. I say, oh God, I was supposed to go and see Super in the damn thing. I just forget. And then I see more performances and people pass it. The thing look good to me, you know what I mean? When I reach there, I really find like, let me tell you something. In Trinidad and Tobago, beach lime means something, right? When you're going on a beach lime, it's vibes. A man tell me in comments recently, he said, I think you're brainwashing people with this rhythm section always use, no? Because he said, from the time I hear the rhythm section, I'm excited for whatever the episode is. And I was like, yeah, that because culturally it means something. So we, as you hear iron knock, you know, it's vibes. So when I know I go in Maracas, it's heavy soca and vibes and there's a chutney and that's how we live, you know what I mean? If you go by the river, if you know always go, you go by the river chutney banging out a man car, that should be illegal. Man should never have music solo, but banging, that's how we is. So a day them tell me about this Hellshire beach in Jamaica, right? I live in Jamaica already, and just like here, I don't leave home. Tell me like, we go Hellshire beach, and they say, and a beach named Buff Bay. I used to hear a man sing a song. Nobody can tell me, see them girl you no come from Buff Bay. Me no Buff Bay is a real place. I say, all right, let me go to Buff Bay, boy. What? And when I go down on the Buff Bay now, my Trinidadian cultural self expecting to hear water. I expected to have vibes when I go on the beach. Number one, the beach is smelling of a plant. You know what I mean? A plant-like substance. The whole entire beach is smelling plant-like. I said, but what is this? And then the music they playing on the beach is the heaviest revolutionary Bob Marley. Boy, I want to jump off an almond tree. I said, but what kind of depressing, heavy vibes is this thing? The music, I like reggae music, but reggae is not the beach music for me. I expected energy and vibes. Well, I just want to tell you that the Friday night in Emancipation Village was reggae night. Salute to the Emancipation Support Committee Entertainment Section. I see Ziggy Rankin. Salute to Ziggy Rankin. I see Daniel Bless. I ain't saying the artists and them ain't good, the reggae artists. We have the great. I want to say salute to the great Sasha. I see Sasha in concert the other night. And you know his Instagram, I see it on, right? Because me and leave my house, I was supposed to go there too. But that looked great. That the energy seeing Prophet Benjamin, Sasha, Mr. King, Ziggy Rankin, all of them on one stage, King David, all of them come together for what we know as we use as reggae all stars and think them men come together. And it was a great show from everything I could see. And Sasha pour your heart and soul into that performance. Where I see they bring a message with the husbands and the wicked people in this life. Bring a message from the man daughter who couldn't make it. The man emotional like hell in your own show. Great, great show. But I don't know if it's that the Emancipation Support Committee see and decide that Friday night is the night for reggae. Because in the Friday night, I trying to have a vibes, eat some food, have a partner, salute my partner, Jade. He and all of us are African earring in his ears. Usually he's a man is where diamonds start and all of us are near African earring, playing African and that chic. He salute my partner. But we in there, and I started here. Well, the first performer, when I realized I in the wrong place, because I up here, I done drink my gazoo on the golf course now I in Emancipation Village, I looking for vibes. The first reggae performer, he sang a song. Me, I know the name of the song, right? But I could tell you that the two lines, he rhymed vile with pedophile. And I find that was very heavy for a Friday night. I find that was very, very heavy. Cheering anything. I say, all right, this ain't good. And then our next man come now and he beat a bongo drum. He ain't want the band. He just want a bongo drum. He sing for about 85 minutes of my life. That man sing wailing and lamentations of revolution. And I say, boy, why we just have to be looking so... I'm so proud to be part of the Emancipation Village. I find black must always look regal. We must present the best of ourselves at all times. And I overthinking this. I want to put it out there. I am overthinking this. I'm also looking for things to talk about on the podcast too. So I'm looking for every funny thing it have going on to make here. But I'm overthinking this because when I see the tents, I say, oh God, they couldn't call somebody to decor these tents and good and make some good sign. It can't be that walking into a private Ryan event is looking nicer than walking in Emancipation Village. We must look great. We must look like the thing to be. But then again, all you don't want nobody else come. I forget, all you don't want nobody else come. It's just for we. So it's like a family day. You just get it done, right? So you do it and it's in your pass through the booths, the people and them selling. It look like things selling. And then I reach by the food park, good food selling. I want to salute. I don't want to forget. That's a ride on thing, right? And of course, a ride on thing, but I forget the name of the thing. It has somebody inside there selling breadfruit pizza. Now, I'll tell you something, right? Me know what is that. And I ain't getting none because the line was so long that a crowd in front of the breadfruit pizza thing. I want to say salute to them who put together that because that's why I expect, not that breadfruit pizza is African. I just expect when you go there, it's vibes, it's variety and thing. But boy, the little violent pedophile, it was hard. It was hard on my soul, my spirit. I couldn't take it. And I couldn't understand like why Oli didn't make that night when the place full. Like Thursday night, you had to put somebody like Super there. Super in a crowd like that. Number one, he was coming off that stage because he stayed too far from the people. And when he go down inside there and sing hello, hello, I know I'm feeling proud as African. I want to call all my Indian brothers, Nick, I say that. I want to call every other race to show them how great we is when you have something like that. But Boy, I see. It wasn't just me. People who in the village go tell me because, a lot of people come up and tell me they enjoy the podcast. A woman do me something I ain't like. She stop me and say, hello. You just have me up 1 o'clock in the morning and I watching she husband right behind. She there say, miss, not me. I gone. But I appreciate people coming and saying they enjoy the podcast. And we're actually going to see vibes of people enjoying this. I know I couldn't be the only person thinking this. Like, this is real heavy, but how we in revolution? I thought we celebrating. Why would you put the reggae night as a night that the most full? When salute to all the reggae artists here, but reggae is not that ain't Bonnie and them kind of thing. I expecting you should put the vibesiest performance that you could possibly book to make sure that because let me tell you something. Super Blue, these people sell a lot of liquor, and a lot of food and a lot of clothes. We underestimate what artists do. When artists come on a stage and people having a good time, their pockets get loose, their credit card is start to hand out. So salute to everybody in Emancipation. I just find I can't help but think, right? I'll put myself in some problems here. But if we have to do the decor for the Emancipation Village, I find you should go and find the people in this country who are the best at putting experiences together. The thing about it is, when you look at the people who are the best at putting it together, just like everything else in Trinidad, you will find people of all races, right? There's a gentleman by the name of Peter Minshall. Me, if he still do this kind of thing. Yeah, people like Wayne Barkley, people like, I forget my ballhead partner name. You have people like Valmiki Maharaj. We have people who do this. We have plenty designers. So I would think just find the best. Like one called Air Committee. You can find Adrian Chandler and them. Find people who has put together the best looking events and make our thing look spectacular. Every year people must be coming there thinking what they would do now to wow, what they would do now to make this into the greatest thing ever. And that way, more breadfruit pizza go sell. I line the real sell macaroni pie and provision and stew chicken. Me, that's an African thing, but boy, I never see. This is 9-10 in the night now. So, who gonna eat all this cassava? Well, they could make some light little food for people and thing, you know what I mean? But if we find the best people in the world who do these things, I feel like we could create a better experience, though. And I just find the Friday wasn't the night for and they have some little awkward things in terms of logistics. So they had stands for people to sit down in, but the stands just facing a tent, sit down and performing. But again, salute to the Emancipation Support Committee, because between that Emancipation Village and the parade, I think it is a beautiful thing. We must continue to develop that and enhance that and make that into the greatest experience ever. We could do it. I want to salute a few people who come and make sure that they hail me out, There's a lady by the name of Shikasa. I see her in the comments all the time. Joella is her name. Thank you very much for always supporting the show and commenting. I bounce up there. And I bounce up two gentlemen who have a podcast by the name of Black to Black, Karen and the Brethren. Salute to all of that. A boot inside there and thing. Maybe I will hear from them and try to get a sense from them as to if it was successful for them, because apart of the way the thing had to work, and as Black people, we must always remember this. We want to celebrate each other and we want to do these things that we want to rise. We want to do better as a race. But a big part of doing better as a race is business, eh? So when I see the man with the breadfruit pizza, it had to have something to connect me now to how I go get breadfruit pizza outside of the Emancipation Village. We as Black people, we have too much a pop-up business. We have a business for this, and then it had no business again. We should be supporting them to get locations, because why breadfruit pizza can't sell pizza like Mario's or Pizza Hut and them kind of thing? I don't see why any one of our businesses can become the biggest business in the country or the region or the world. But again, music is my mission. All you know this tune? I'm coming back and tell all about how they boo out Michelle Benjamin and them. I'm coming back.
A man was born in this country. He grew in the country. He never left the country. How he come Yankee? A man born in this country, grew in this country, never left the country. How he come Yankee? He borrowed some money from a man named Jack, and he decided to pay him back. When Jack asked him for the raise, he decided to reply in Yankees ways. He said, I was born in Honolulu, educate Texas. Never my whole life asked man breakfast. My mama told me, you come this country, someone from my prime, your mama never happened. Well, if you see the Yankee, he wear just up in khaki with a big GI boots, as you know from the army. He rolling the eyes like a new television, rattling the tongue like a Spanish radio station. But school children passing, what thing they know. People hear how they're calling, "Hi Joe!" Well, it's not more what he like. People hear him, "Don't call me Joe, call me Mike." He said, "I born Honolulu, I educate Texas. I never my whole life asked man breakfast. My mama told me, you come this country, someone try to kid me, did Martin Luther King. Never happened. Jack decided he must get the money. He not leaving it with no freshwater Yankee. He went in the market, he bought a bull pistol, he pushed it in his pants, he came back for trouble. He said, "Listen, Foster, man, you're blooming imposter. Me see, why this thing should go any further, man? You dance and you beat your drum. Now let me tell you just where I from." He said, "I was born in Arima. I grow in Aruka. I lend my money to people like you in Tonapuna. And I bring something here to make you remember when you borrow people money, try to be a good paymaster." Wap wap, the Yankee say wap. Wap wap, the Yankee say me do nothing. Wap wap, say murder. Wap wap, police. Ay, ay, ay.
That song is by a man by the name of Delary Scott. Google him. We have people that's called the Crown Prince of Soca, right? Or Calypso. They used to call him the Clong Prince of Soca. Mighty cipher. Clong Prince of Calypso. You can't be that. Only really boo Michelle Benjamin, boy. Let's tell the woman we will remember. It's one of the heaviest statements I hear in a while. You know? She's saying, "We will remember when we are hungry today. And you promised us food tomorrow." I like it. Hey, you can't be Trinidad. The woman come. No, I'll say this, right? Salute to Michelle Benjamin. Michelle Benjamin had a rough time. Me and her, she didn't know what to expect. I don't know what she expected when she reached her. But whatever she was expecting, she gets it. Because the thing what make me laugh about it, she really expected to get like a Martin Luther King according to Cypher. And now Cypher is a man when he sing a kai, so you just can't understand what the hell Cypher saying, eh? But Cypher talking about a man who borrows some money and he playing Yankee, right? And he telling them, he say, "When you go to my country, don't go and try to kill Martin Luther Gandhi." You know what I mean? You know nothing happening outside of Trinidad. He say Martin Luther Gandhi. But I feel like Michelle Benjamin thought she'd get a Martin Luther Gandhi type response when she make her speech. You know what I mean? And it was a good speech. You could see the woman work hard, or ChatGPT, somebody work hard on putting together this speech and she deliver it. Because sometimes as a minister of culture, you're looking for Michelle Benjamin to say more about things. I saw her do a post-carnival consultation on all the different aspects of Carnival. I think it was well attended. It is a great idea, especially if, we like to talk and we like consultation. If we could implement and see some changes coming out of that, it would be good. But I really encouraged by a minister of anything facing the people and coming to ask questions about what could be better. And, one of the things that I have a way of when the government doing some, maybe it's my view of government, an ex-blind spot for me, right? When them say public consultation on something, I just have an image in my mind of the people who just go them kind of thing, and I just think it's going to be empty. And I'm wrong on both. All I picture when I hear public consultation is, it was Manohar Ramsaran, one of them was like hide the face and cuss a man and a thing down the south. I just picture some old set of people, but that wasn't what it was. A lot of people went outside. It was full every single night. I think they did 3 nights in the Savannah and 2 nights in Sapo. So as a minister of culture, people might argue that not enough happened in culture and blah, 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 but she present. She making a presence felt, and she it looked to me like somebody who trying, right? But boy, she overtried it yesterday, boy. Run she out of there, boy. Easy, boy. And most of the audience was at least listening to her, right? They was at least listening. But one woman, she loud, boy. Me, if she swallow a microphone, that woman loud, sir. They had to find something for she to do. I want to know what she's doing when the day come. But she is the ball when school children running across. You know, school children when school done, they just run across. They should make this she a ball in work. But you know, sometimes you have a funeral, nobody never like the person. Hire she to go and ball in people's funeral and them kind of thing. 'Cause boy, that woman mouth loud and she disrupt the whole speech for her to say that. And I think with the sentiment that people have towards the government now in recent events, you know, as a government, you just feel it, right? Time does pass now. I would admit that only a little bit of time passed since this government in power, but like some people seem to be fed up of the government in place, and Michelle Benjamin bear the brunt of that. But salute to her, she worked through it and thing. I even see one person make an announcement, and I ain't lying, the woman looked like she wanted to laugh too, you know, like she was the opening of the parade or the village or something, and she said, well, our honorable prime minister just calm up aside business, couldn't be everything. The woman said, no. I just find like responses like those, and when you in the public space, is a tricky place. It's the same thing I say now. I mean, I can't compare anything I do to what they have to do. But I'm not sure that anything in the comments could bother me to that. But you just keep that in the comments. Don't come to me in person and tell me some of them kind of thing. Me don't want to hear that. But in the comments, you're entitled to your opinion. I'm doing something for the public to digest. So I think Michelle Benjamin's response was much like that. Because if I was Michelle Benjamin, I'd cuss you up too. You know, and I could get bad. But she did it well. The lady on the podium say, here what? No, don't think the prime minister, but people seem to be glad, and even that, it that could read several different ways, right? Let me just give it the most benign assumption that we don't like what the government doing, so anywhere we see them in a public space, we're going to mock and boo and jeer them. Let me give them the benefits of the doubt, right? Now, keep the backdrop of everything else that happened and everything else I talk about against for the 2 weeks, right? Keep in mind that one person went off on Michelle Benjamin. The crowd, I don't know that the crowd was against me. They was taking in her speech for the most part. At least give her that space and respect, right? Indian High Commissioner say they want to do something for the Indian people. We say, nah, forget that. Only move that. We don't want that to be an African thing. You know what I mean? And then the Indian woman dancing in the UTT like that, get rid of she, right? We what you think for yourself. And then Michelle Benjamin is UN, she's government too, but we go tolerate she and thing, you know what I mean? But then when the prime minister comes, Ray she come and thing. Again, I can see, even though I believe it to be just the sentiment that we don't like what the government doing and them kind of thing, because the last story I'm closing here on is how public servants ain't getting money yet, right? Which is a special. And when public servants ain't getting money and they make it up, that's the biggest sector of employment that have in the country. And a bunch of them was in the Emancipation Village, you know what I mean? A lot of public servants. So you go in and get that. And as a government, outside the election, you ain't bound to be popular, you know. It's only election time you need to be popular. What you need to do is make the right decisions for the governance of the country. So you must know that you're coming out there, right? So I given them the benefits of the doubt that jail. That the boos and the jails were about that. And then later on, when the government ministers come anything, you know what I mean? They boo and run the people out, and they're like, dog, they say, oh, let's come out in here. I wondering strategically, like, as a people, are we clear as a people who were emancipated? What is it we asking for? Like, is there something we're looking for from the government or something? And when I say the government, I mean all governments. Do we have a position on what we want? Or is it that we just want, you know what I mean, we want black people in power, or we want PNM in power? All that cool with me, you know. I just need to know what we're standing for. Because I don't know that strategically is the best idea that you're supporting an Emancipation Support Committee who has to invite these people to the thing because it's public funds coming into the thing. So you want to invite the dignitaries. And then I just be here quarreling for the last how much years when they don't show up in events. And then when they show up in event, this is the response. On the flip side of that, if you're in public office, you have to take the response you get. I just don't see. This is just me. And I want to go back to when I say I never went to an Emancipation Village, so I got to ask my mother. But I don't know that people was happy with keep moving Augustus Rowley. But I don't know that Rowley was going and make no address in Emancipation Village and get boo like that. Or people say Rowley can't come and everybody say Ray like that. I'm not sure. I don't know. Mommy got to tell me. No, I am a very measured person. So I want to assume that it's not the race of the people or the fact that I am PNM and them is UNC why I reacting like that and booing people and saying people might be genuinely fed up with the prime minister no matter who she is. I would assume that. And I would think it's wise to make that assumption before I talk to more people. Because to make an assumption like that and come out on a public platform and say that the people who was in Emancipation Village racist and anybody who come there is PNM and anybody who think and once they have an Indian, I think that would be highly irresponsible. But that is why I this podcast on other people, this Prime Minister, because the Prime Minister went on Twitter and say, the PNM MPs, what you could do is put one long beep here, just beep out this whole part, right? So they can go PDO me, right? The PNM MPs and owners believe that destroying Afro-Trinidadians supportive of the UNC and spreading so-and-so hatred, insert racial slur, is a good political strategy. Now, before I go further, I think it is very, 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 very irresponsible of all the people who are in power who are deliberately continuing to circulate this C word to keep it at the forefront. I see it as a political strategy to divide, and I find it to be extremely irresponsible. Star Sabga is who she is. If all you want to go and boycott Blue Waters because Star Sabga say what she say or boycott the whole 1%, that is your choice. I do not think that the people who are in power, who voted to be in power, because they have a thing called Pareto principle that says 20% of the people responsible for 80% of the result, or 20% of the effort is getting 80% of the way. 80-20 rule. I talk about it here all the time. I just come and argue here about the tax we pay and think the amount of income tax and the amount of corporate. I find the tax rate high compared to what we get back for the tax rate, right? But I want to tell you that same 1% that they're thinking about, and if you watch the tax that they pay compared to what the rest of the population pay, they're paying some tax and they're citizens. Remember what you said in the beginning, they meant from here. So the fact that Star Sabga say that them and their family go had to deal with the consequences of that, them as private citizens, and if anybody wants to boycott them and their businesses for that, may again in your way of that. But the elected officials who there to govern everybody, they're there to govern white, black, red, what is it, yellow and yellow, black and white. We are precious in this side. You there to govern all of them, right? And you there to govern. Maybe that's why they write that song red and yellow, black and white at UNC and PNM since in them days in Bible study and thing at UNC and PNM. You there to govern red, yellow, green, and whoever else it have, right? I find it highly irresponsible, and it seems to be an organized approach to keeping this Star Sabga word in circulation. It feels deliberate. She went on to say, this on Twitter, and I might say, at risk of my visa and so on, there's only one other leader of our country that I see on Twitter making statements as divisive as this. The PNM MPs, owners and supporters' idea of celebrating Emancipation Day was to denigrate, humiliate, and tear down Indo and Afro-Trinidadians who don't support their political party. This version of the PNM under Penelope Beckles is the most hateful, racist, and divisive. What they did to Michelle Benjamin and Selwyn Cudjoe over the Emancipation weekend was disgusting. This sick version of the PNM mobilized and encouraged their supporters to mobilize. PNM can mobilize. This sick version of the PNM mobilized and encouraged their supporters to curse, insult, abuse UNC officials during the Emancipation Day celebrations and thus denigrate and desecrate the holiday. Last night, a number of PNM persons contacted me to condemn their behavior of the party and to disassociate themselves from Penelope Beckles and the current PNM leadership of the PNM. It's too long. I thought tweets are limited. Didn't have a time here to just 227 characters. This is too long. Only get them Prime Minister and them a limit on Twitter. There's some of this that, no, again, the first paragraph of this, I don't condone that. I just find that it is beneath the level and the office of a Prime Minister to even utter certain words or say certain things. But they tell me I'm naive long time, right? If it is always sworn political enemies and things, and I do believe, like, again, I already know I love Krokro, but I've seen Krokro singing songs where people who support the UNC is a problem. Black people. But he's not a problem for being a PN. I don't know if I agree with that. So I find, Dominic said in the episode, no, support who you find doing the best for what your agenda is. And that idea of the political divide and stuff is not something that I would encourage. So if she wants to say or make a statement, or the government as a whole, not just her, want to say this divide and the PNM is pushing this thing and they're sending organizers to make the UNC look bad in public spaces, I could live with that whole day. I find you could say that because you're within your rights to say that. And apart from it, I don't doubt that things like that happen because, I mean, the queen of organized protests against they want to gain power. So I know they know things like this happen in the political space. So if all you want to talk about that, talk about that. The part that I have the biggest difficulty with is number one, the current circulation or the constant circulation and pulling it up in people's face of these racial slurs and things. I think it counterproductive. What are we doing? Why are we doing that for? PNM say they're hiding from public anger. I guess that's what the PNM would say, because and they have a point as well, because a part of you could be just deflecting because you have a public that angry and you really don't want to you don't want to face that public. So you're deflecting from the pushback again in the public space, because as I say, people ain't getting their money and thing on time, and public servant this, and all was supposed to be cash, and then some is bonds and things. So you're taking decisions that may be unpopular. Yeah, PDOing people. I was talking about Nizam Mohammed talking about it last week with people under public detention orders and so on. So is it that you don't just want to face the music and you blaming the PNM for your shortcomings and so on, and why people are angry? And if this is year 1, year 2, what will happen in year 4? Frightened for them. But I'm eager to see where they go from here. What happens, because August is a funny month. August is start with emancipation and end with independence. And I waiting for the longest while to see UNC MPs led by the Prime Minister in the independence thing. I wait for 10 years, they never come. They give me 1 more year where it canceled last year because threat to the state and so on. A matter of fact, last year they PDO the whole armed services. They said don't march for nothing, or let's stay home. And now I see a budget approved for it. For everything I know so far, the Independence Parade is on. And if you believe that the PNM under the Penelope Beckles is the most hateful, racist, divisive, is it that you're going to hide again and not come the independence thing? I have a fundamental problem with that. I feel like if the leaders of the country should be present for the independence parade, and when I say leaders of the country, I'm talking government and opposition. So from what I see, I don't know when independence falling, but I'm pretty sure that I have an episode to record right after independence. So are we here talking about, like, what do you to say, hold this space, like stick a pin, wait, because I want to see if this now is a springboard to say, well, they're not coming nothing to do with independence. Because if the whole army and police and coast guard and the air guard and everybody is PNM, well, boy, we understand why you governing, so then there's real problems we have. Or are you going to come out and address the nation, say we have to say, give the awards? Because I think somewhere between independence and republic, they will have national awards and so on. So we eager. I want to hear what it's saying. Now again, if you pay close attention enough and you listen to the songs in this episode, you're going to realize all the song on them is about tourists and foreigners and them kind of thing. If you pay enough attention, you're going to realize my question to us is really why we just extend the red carpet to tourists and we just mock and boo and jeer one another. We treat each other bad in this country because we own celebrations of emancipation. We own celebrations of Indian arrival. We just had the most controversy around it. But when them, you can't say white people in a video, when they had a St. Patrick's Day and thing is beer selling, we celebrating St. Patrick's Day in every bar and every time when foreigner hatting here, we just act like it's the greatest celebration ever. And then when it comes to we own celebration and we own religious festivals and we own celebrations of our ethnic beauty, we have a tendency to want to half kill one another. You know, it's like we have a family day, but we treat your family like dog. But then when somebody comes to stay by you, you're putting your own children out your bedroom to let them sleep on the ground. So some person who come in from abroad, they come in, you smell like the barrel still. You put them in bedroom and you put them in socks and carpet and slippers to walk in and things. But I'm eager for the day when we treat ourselves the way we treat tourists. So the last song of the day is fitting. Because if we think of ourselves as tourists, we go solve half the problems we have here.
Once they had a competition for the most traveled Calypsonian. Everyone was shocked to see the finalist was
travel more than we, we cover this whole globe. And we little how much a square mile we have. All Tobago, Rio could sing a whole verse about. So let me treat each other like if we're from foreign now. Maybe that's the best thing we could do, you know what I mean? Treat each other like none of we ain't from here. And we go have a better experience walking these streets. Enjoy a little emancipation. Don't know what else all are going on. Only have a good week. Be productive. Be nice. It's no more holiday. Thank God for a while. It's no more Dominic Hadeed episode support. All the episodes of them we put on now, they safe. Whew. My battery might be able to last a day on my phone. I'll go talk to you next week. Bye.